Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be using some resin. So first off, I want to show some of the equipment, tools, and supplies, but mostly the safety gear that I'm using. So I am using a ventilator mask that filters out particles, fumes, things like that. I'll be wearing gloves. Off camera, you won't see it, but there's also a fan that is blowing all of the fumes away from me. So if you are going to be using resin, I highly recommend taking all of the necessary safety precautions because there are fumes. I think no matter what the bottle says, there's gonna be fumes, whether it's straight out of the bottle or during the curing process. And so you just want to be careful, protect yourself. Okay, so here's everything that I'll be working with today, and in particular, I found these on Amazon. They are open frame bezels, I guess, and they're for jewelry making. And the set I got is rather inexpensive, and it comes with a lot of different size frames, both in silver and gold. And so I thought I've seen a lot of videos on how to make these really cool looking pendants, and I thought that with multiple shaped kind of teardrops like these, I thought up a design which in my head I think could be pretty cool. So we'll see if it turns out to be that way. But I was sort of experimenting a little bit here. But later, I'll be actually using the smallest of these three sort of water drop shaped bezels to create the pendant that I've seen several YouTube videos on how to do. So stay tuned for that. This is basically going to be kind of a matching set of earrings and a I guess a necklace, I guess is what I'll turn it into. So what I'm doing here is I positioned the three bezels kind of nested the way that I want them, and I've just stuck it onto some low-tack tape. So this is painter's tape, and I'm going to use some washi tape to hold this down to my silicone mat. And I'm going to mix up my resin now. So in one, I'm going to use pink, and the other, I am going to use glitter. And there's, if you can see, there's actually three sort of sections. And that middle section, I'm just going to keep it clear so that it kind of looks like, it's a little bit suspended. And it doesn't take much of much epoxy or much resin at all, really. I just mixed up just this little itty bitty amount here, and that's going to be enough for both of these necklaces and for the both of these earrings and for the necklace that I'll be making later. The next time I do this, I'm not going to use this tape. I don't recommend it to you because I am gonna put the resin in, and what I'm doing is I'm gonna put resin, the silver and the pink, in first, and then I'm gonna leave the middle section empty, and then I'm gonna cure that once. And then I'm going to fill in that middle section with just clear, nothing added to it, UV resin. And then I'm going to do another curing. So there's two reasons for that. The first is that I just didn't want, if there was any kind of seepage in between sections, I just didn't want the middle to be contaminated if it had, resin, and it might kind of pull some of the resin from either parts that had the glitter. And two, my speculation is that the resin that has glitter in it this is pure speculation, but might need a little bit extra curing just because it's not clear, so some of that glitter that's suspended in that would be blocking the UV light from going all the way through, so it could probably benefit from a second curing through the light. And now I'm gonna dome or just polish off the top by adding some clear resin so that it's got a nice dome over top of the front here, and that's gonna give it a really nice finish. And the reason why I don't recommend using this tape is it is low tack, but I guess something in the curing process and the resin, it does leave a residue, quite a bit actually. And so alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, 91% or higher, I happen to have 99 here, is really great for cleaning up resin just in general. And so if you're working with resin, it's always a good idea to just have it on hand. And so that's what I'm using here to wipe off that sticky residue. So next time I think I might try some washi tape, because that's also low tack, and see if that works better to where it doesn't leave that sticky residue. It wasn't a huge deal, I was able to wipe it clean, but I prefer if I didn't have to do that, then all the better, because I don't know if I got it super duper clean. So this is the only time where I worked with the light to where I could actually see it. But basically what I was doing was flash curing so that the jump ring that I attached to the top of the earring would just stick at least a little bit, enough so that I could get a nice finish on the back of the earrings as well. So I'm going to be doming the back of this too, so that one, you get a little bit extra resin over top of the jump ring, hopefully making it more secure. And then two, it gives the back a really nice and shiny finish as well. Because I found that with that residue, and maybe, it would happen anyways just by nature of it being kind of the back of the pour or the cast, that it was a little bit dull. And so by doming it, it brought it back to like a really nice shiny finish. And I love how this turned out. I will say though that even though I've seen other videos of where of the pendant anyhow, which I'm about to make here, where that's exactly how they've attached the jump ring. And I seeing it for myself now though, I kind of wonder how secure that really is. And I showed it to my husband, and he was actually really impressed. He's like, wow, that's impressive that you made that. And but I asked him, I was like, do you think this is secure the way it is? And he's like, well, can you like poke a hole through the earring and loop it in so that it's like it's chained up, so it basically links with the frame? And I was like, well, I don't know. But I thought that I would just try to test how strong that hold is, and I kind of tugged on it a little bit, and sure enough, it started to wiggle. So literally just right before filming or recording this voiceover, I just took off one of the jump rings on one of the earrings, and luckily I happened to get a manual drill that is generally, I bought it so that I can finish off the keychains that I started, and so it can drill little holes, and I tried drilling through the resin. It was really easy to do, and I was able to get the jump ring through it without too much trouble at all, really. It was actually pretty easier than I expected. And I think that's gonna be a lot more secure in the end. So I'll probably break apart the other one and do the same thing. What I did have to do was, because there was a little bit of extra resin where the jump ring was originally attached, I had to sand that down. So now that's sanded down, it's kind of cloudy. So I'm going to have to put just a smidge of resin over that to just bring it back to a nice glossy shine. But then it should be good to go. So here I'm making, now this I saw a tutorial for, so I can't say that this is my kind of original design. And to be honest, I mean, I doubt the earrings I made are that original. I'm sure somebody else has made them in that configuration before as well. But I did see this from another from a resin artist. And so what I've already done is I filled, kind of tried to do a little bit of an ombre from silver to pink, with pink in the center and silver on the outside, and I made these little drops. I thought what would be easier to do was create the two flowers in full and then stack them, rather than do all individual petals. But then, as you saw, when I took that first one apart or off of the tape, all the petals fell apart because there wasn't enough resin that was kind of leaking in between each of the frames to really hold it together. So I thought I was trying to save a little bit of time, but in the end it didn't work out that way. But that's fine. It's still, you can still place them individually. I just found that when I placed them individually, it was harder to get them to kind of stay put, because when you start placing them on top of the resin, they tended to kind of move around a little bit, but I think it still worked out okay. It still looked good, and I've got a lot of these little gems, so I thought that I would put a nice little gemstone, like a clear gemstone right in the center there, which I thought looked fantastic against that silver glitter. I thought that worked really well. And with the top of the piece done, I'm going to attach the jump ring to the back, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a tiny drop of resin, and then I'm going to just hold the jump ring with these tweezers as I flash cure it for 10-15 seconds. And really, after a couple seconds, you can let go, and it's fine. It's cured enough to hold it. It may not be like a full cure, but that's okay, because we're working on the back here, and I'm going to dome the back and get that nice and shiny. And these little silicone brushes that came with a set of a box of resin that I got, it's really, really, really nice. Like, this one is itty bitty. It comes to a nice, fine point, and it's so great for just pushing right to the edge. I have an office chair in my craft room where I can lower and raise my seat. So I found it helpful when I was doing the doming like I'm doing now, to actually lower my seat as low as it will go. And that way I can get down kind of level with the piece and really see if I'm pushing it all the way to the edge or not, because it's a little bit hard to tell, being that it's a clear resin and it is super crystal clear. And so that I found helped a lot. So just a little cleanup here. Packing tape is really fantastic. So I just cured all of my mixing bowls, my tools, the brushes and everything, and then to lift that cured resin, I just use this little strip of packing tape, and it pulls it right off. Super easy. Normally what I would do with the mixing bowls is I would just actually cure it and then just leave it like that. And then when I start my next craft session is when I take the packing tape to it. That way it's like free from dust and everything when you start your session, because next time I go to start, I'm still gonna have to wipe that down and maybe packing tape it to just remove any dust. But I wanted to just show you on camera while I had it out. And so for the most part, this turned out really well. The camera's not, maybe black cardstock wasn't the best thing to put behind this to show it, but it's super clear, really easy, not a lot of resin. It didn't take that long. The whole session maybe took an hour and a half or so to create, just because I really did take a lot of time to dome. I think I'm really slow at that. But lots and lots of fun. So I'll be making sets of these for my nieces, and I'm trying to think of what I can make for my nephews. It's so hard to make handmade gifts for them. If you have suggestions on good handmade gifts for boys, teenage boys, let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye.